CBDT, that is the Central Board of Direct Taxes, will be overhauling the Income Tax Act 1961, and that is why the income tax is in news, and we will see why is this requirement even there and what kind of changes we can expect with this overhaul. So the news is all about the income tax department that is going to undertake a significant overhaul. See, there have been changes previously also, very recently also, but now it's going to be a complete revamp or a significant overhaul in the Income Tax Act through a newly formed internal committee. Internal committee has been formed for that particular reason. It's not a external committee, internal committee, as in within the organization of CBDT. Okay, so first things first, why is the income tax being reviewed? Now, the reason is changing times. Changing times would require changes. Things getting faster, easier. So the Income Tax Act should also get less complex, simple, faster, easier to implement, so on and so forth. So let us dig deep into the details for the reason. So first things first, historical complexity. This act has been historically complex, as a result of which filing of the income tax has also been historically complex. You would still now see, the emails which you get, for example, with respect to filing of taxes to help you file out taxes, right? You are not able to file out on your own. You may be educated, you may be graduate, postgraduate, PhD holder, you know things, but still filing income tax, it becomes difficult unless and until you have specifically studied it, trained for it, you are a CA yourself, so on and so forth. Still, a lot of people still do it, but majorly it is quite a complex affair. Now, because of its complexity, what happens is people delay. Let's say, for example, if it would have been as simple as let's say opening a social media account, people would do it right away, immediately. But if it is very complex, you don't know what to write, where to write, how to write, what should be entered, where it should be entered, under what head, so on and so forth, then it becomes complex. It gets delayed. Once it gets delayed, either you have to hire a CEO or a company to do it for you, or it gets pending, and a lot of issues. So what happens is compliance also reduces. Compliance rate also reduces. So first is historical complexity which is there, and because of which previous simplifications were tried but could not be completely affected by or implemented, or let's say completely make it simple. Because if you see, when it was tried 1958 for not 1958, previous efforts including the 1958 law commission's work, so therein changes in law, that is one thing. At the same time, previously there were certain measures which were highlighted, but these are old provisions, and now there is more digitization, there is more internet penetration, so now you can leverage this technology, etc., even more to make it even simpler, and hence it is being reviewed. Another reason is need for modernization. Need for modernization, as in, what happens is disputes might be there and confusions might be there. So disputes and confusion, if it is lasting longer, it is a waste of time, money and resources on behalf of both the government and the individual or the organization. So decision on disputes needs to be taken. If there is confusion, ambiguity, that needs to be sorted out. Clarity needs to be made. So all those things would be is estimated to be looked at. Of course, improvement of compliance. Now, if the above two things which we have discussed can be simplified and made easier, the compliance would definitely increase, and that's what this point also says. Simplifying the tax law is expected to enhance the taxpayer compliance. It's as simple as that. Now, this entire review is basically a part of broader effort to make the tax system more efficient and in line with global standards. See, India is trying to make things easier. It's trying to make things less complex. For example, starting a business, closing a business, all these things have been made easier. You can simply log on to different ministries' websites and register yourself, self-register yourself, self-verification. All those provisions are being made to make things simpler. Now it's time for the Income Tax Act to become simpler. And of course, dispute resolution is also a thing. In dispute resolution, what happens is if there is a lot of ambiguity in the law, the decision keeps pending. The judge would keep the decisions pending. So when you get clarity, these cases, these disputes would also be resolved in a quickly fashion. And when you resolve the dispute, let's just for simple example, let's say there is a land which is under dispute. Now it's under dispute since 10 years. What is the problem? The problem is this land is not being utilized productively because it is under dispute between two parties, so no one can use it. So an asset is kept vacant. So the efficiency of the economy goes down. The productivity of the economy goes down. That means the GDP of the economy goes down. So this is going to have a domino effect in a positive way if we are able to simplify this particular thing. Now, what are the key provisions that we are looking at that also needs to be seen? Income Tax Act, when we talk about it, is for the direct taxes. That is very clear. Direct taxes levied on the individual or on the corporates, companies, etc. That is what direct tax is. Direct tax is a tax which is progressive in nature. Of course, progressive as in people earning more will be giving more taxes. That is what progressive means. And the person on whom it is imposed, the person who's cut will bleed. That means the person on whom it is imposed will be paying. Unlike indirect taxes, in which what happens, the person on whom it is imposed, they do not pay, but someone else pays it. So that is indirect. Indirect, the person on whom it is imposed pays the tax. Now, what is the objective of this entire exercise? Objective is economic stability, right? How can we maintain economic stability? When taxation is simplified, when more people are paying taxes, the government is generating revenue, the people are also not finding it cumbersome, they are also not evading it. So economy is going to function more at a higher efficiency. When disputes are resolved quickly, productivity will increase. So stability in economy will be one of the very logical things. Second, to have progressive taxation. Now, understand this, that direct taxes are anyhow progressive in nature, but we can make it more evenly progressive. I'll give you an example that after 15 lakhs, people earning more than 15 lakhs, then after 15 lakh, the above thing would be charged at 30%. Then anyone earning 16 lakhs, 17 lakhs, 18 lakhs, the additional thing is being charged at 30%. The additional 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh. Someone earning 2 crore also being charged at 30%. So maybe this discrepancy can be changed, and maybe we can have different sort of slabs to have more evenly progressive nature of the taxation system, right? Revenue collection. When you simplify it, make it easy, tax net is going to increase, which will lead to increased revenue collection. Disputes, when it is resolved, the assets, when it is dispute free, can be utilized for productive activity, which would again generate revenue for the government. Hence, revenue collection is going to increase. Of course, tax slabs can be looked for changes in the tax slabs, right? Tax slabs are what? Different income tax bracket corresponding to different tax rates. So those can also be, let's say, modified or changed. Deductions. Deductions is as in, if you are supposed to pay particular amount of taxes, but you have criteria for certain deductions under certain different clauses. For example, house rent, right? For example, loan. So there are different section, 80C for investment, 80D for medical insurance, 80G for donation, etc., etc. Now, how much should be allowed under what head would also be revisited, right? And finally, assessment. Not finally, there are more things to left, but assessment. Assessment means what? Assessing your income. Now, this process needs to be made easier. Details the procedure for assessing taxable income, filing returns, and conducting audits. So, assessing income, how to assess the income? First, when you file it, you should be able to enter what all income you have, right? Then you file the returns, then it is verified also, and audit can also happen. You know, individual files are audited. Not everyone's file is audited, but randomly the government does audit the income tax filings. Okay, then you have tax deducted at source. Now, tax deducted at source is important for full-time employees as well as part-time employees. In fact, lot of importance for part-time employees. See, someone working as a part-time with a particular firm, so might be one working as part-time for some other particular firm. So the firm who have employed them as part-time do not know how much else do they earn. So on a safer side, they deduct tax at source at the rate of 10%. If they are not working elsewhere, or if their income is less than the required slab under which there is no taxation, they can later on file for tax return and get this TDS deducted back from the government. Even the full-time employees can do that. Then you have capital gains tax. Capital gains tax is the tax which is charged on the gains you may have when you sell the capital asset. Let's say you have a land, you bought a land at 40 lakh rupees. After 2 years, you sold it at 60 lakh rupees. Now 20 lakh is the profit you have garnered or made. So capital gains tax will be imposed on these 20 lakhs which you have accrued as a profit. Then of course penalties and appeals. If you are failing to pay the taxes, then there will be penalties. How much that penalty should be, so on and so forth, would be discussed in this. Along with that, also the appeals, because sometimes there can be a misjudgment from the government side also, to which you can appeal. So appeal procedure as well as penalty procedure would also be looked at. Now, what are the expected benefits? We want it to have less complexity and make it simple. That means it will give conciseness and clarity. It will be short and sweet, at the same time very simple. Then further enhance taxpayers' experience, making it very easy. You may not be required to get someone else to file it for you. You may still be required to do that, but lesser percentage of people would want to do that, because it will be now simpler and you can have a very easy experience filing the tax returns. Capital gains tax reforms would help generate more revenue, right? Capital gains tax is people earning from the assets. So maybe the government may seem to do what? Increase the percentage of taxation over there, so that they can earn more revenue from the profits that the people are making while selling, let's say, the capital assets. Broader tax base. The more simpler you make this particular procedure, more number of people will pay taxes. When more number of people pay taxes, your tax net anyhow becomes broader. In fact, even the let's say informal sector would, because of taxation and all these complexities, try to remain in the informal sector. They can also come into the formal sector, thus further increasing the tax net. Improve business environment. When there is clarity, business environment will definitely improve. There was a Vodafone case in which what happened is Vodafone paid certain amount of taxes, but after certain years the government says, no, your taxation rate should have been higher, so please pay the pending one. Now this ambiguity, this uncertainty is not good for business. Tomorrow a foreign company or even Indian company would be scared to start business in India because such kind of things are happening. So those things should not be there. There should be clarity that would ensure that there is an improved business environment, which would further, all these things would lead to further long-term economic benefits. And this would actually be seen in long term. It would not happen all of a sudden everyone starts paying the direct taxes. No, it will not happen. It will take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and in the coming years it is going to improve, just like GST. Alright, so this is all about the overhaul of the direct taxes or the Income Tax Act of 1961, which the CBDT is looking at. As and when things come out and the changes are suggested and finally implemented, we will have a closer look and be bringing on lectures upon that as well. Thank you.